Have you ever felt like you've tried so hard to fit into society that you no longer know who you are or what makes you special? Over the years, I've noticed that this is quite a common experience among neurodivergent adults, myself included. I found myself last year at 30 realizing I'd become an empty shell of a person. Okay at pretending to be normal at surface level, but if you dug any deeper, it was hollow. If anyone else has had similar experiences, or you're also struggling with identity issues or how to recover from masking for so long, I'm going to share a bit about my journey in this video, and hopefully it helps some people with their situations too. I was a very weird child, and I don't say that in a negative way, although I know the word weird has a lot of negative connotations, and even I am still struggling to reclaim it as a positive descriptor rather than an insult. I had some very deep special interests. I was a horse girl, but without my own pony, so I just ran around like a horse at school and info-dumped on anyone who would listen about equine physiology and evolution. I went through my 2000s emo stage, complete with dyeing my hair and striped arm warmers. I'd go through periods of rewatching the same TV shows and films over and over again. Glee, Grey's Anatomy, musical theatre, camp rock, which whilst it helped me find my people on sites like Tumblr, to people at school it was way too much. I got very used to being told I was annoying or strange, and it slowly wore away at me. But there is a singular moment I remember the most. I was 18 and I had just gone to university. I had found a society that was specifically for nerdy people. This was like my dream. I loved video games and fantasy novels, and I really wanted to get into role-playing games like my dad played with his friends. But at a social once, I remember someone I considered a friend going to me, "You talk too much about Dragon Age, it's annoying." It's such an innocuous comment, and they probably didn't even mean it with malicious intent. But I remember thinking, if I'm too weird for the so-called weird people, maybe I really need to change. And so I stopped talking about the things I loved. Instead, I'd talk about whatever everyone else was talking about. I'd nod along and pretend to agree with their opinions, even if I didn't, because I was so afraid of rejection and being alone. And it worked. I did have some friends. I was even pretty well liked among my weird social group. But I had no idea what had become a coping mechanism for me would completely erase everything that made me special over time. Through my 20s, I drifted away from a lot of my friends because of some serious mental health issues that made it difficult for me to socialise. But even with the people online I met, or the small group of people I knew through my partner at the time, I only showed a very condensed part of myself. So much so that even people I considered friends probably couldn't have told you things I liked or was passionate about. And the worst part, the thing I really realised last year, was that I couldn't even tell people what those things were. I had become so afraid of being passionate about something that I didn't let myself do it even in private. I'd always play down my knowledge of a subject so I didn't seem like a know-it-all, pretending to be surprised about things I already knew, or stopping myself from correcting people when they said something I knew was incorrect. So I wasn't even reinforcing my own knowledge by talking to other people who were knowledgeable about or interested in the subject. I was just a chameleon of a person, and how could I know who I was or even consider something like self-compassion or self-love if I didn't know who I was being compassionate to? Unmasking is hard. I don't have all the secrets, and I still struggle with it majorly. Something I've learned as I've been going is that being weird is what makes you special. And not even in a silly, cringy way, but if you're with a group of people, it's the people who stand out that others notice and want to keep interacting with, not those who are quiet and agreeable and just like every other person they speak to. Some people will think you're too much or odd, but at least they have an opinion on you. At least they remember your name. And honestly, you don't want to be friends with those people anyway, because they don't share your interests or vibe with your personality. I found it helps to reframe it like that. Not that you're too weird for them and they're rejecting you, but that they're just helping you know that they're not people worth investing time and energy into, because you're not compatible. As for finding yourself when you've become so grey and muted, there are a couple of things I suggest. First, give yourself time to fully immerse yourself in your hobbies and interests. Spend a weekend reading books or playing a game you love, or drawing, writing, whatever it is. The more time you spend with them, the more your inner self reconnects with it. And the second thing I suggest is to get involved with a community who are also really into said thing. It doesn't have to be in person, although I did find that book clubs and board gaming groups were really good for that, because everyone else there is into it enough to give up their time to just do said thing. But I know especially for people with anxiety and mental health issues, or those who live in rural areas, it might not be realistic for you to meet up in person. Instead, find communities on Discord or Reddit. Are we still recommending Reddit in 2026? I'm not very active there anymore. I recently opened a Discord server for the channel, and it's already blossoming into such a lovely place, full of people with interests in games, books, art, animals, and also as a bit of a haven for neurodivergent people as a whole. I'm hoping that as it grows, we can do more community events and get to know each other better. I want to hear all about your special interests, no matter how niche, because passionate people are interesting people, captivating people I and other people want to be friends with. And even if you're not there just yet, we're here to support you in finding yourself once more.